Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? I'm William Carrington. Through these making these videos, people keep coming up to me and asking, can I do one on this, do one on that? And I try my best. I sit down and I go, well, yeah, kind of tell me what you'd like to hear. And I go over it, and then I sit down and I think back through my life. How can I tell this story where it's my story and I'm explaining the story to you? And so in this videotape here, this is a very, very touchy subject, and it's about talking to your children about drugs. I mean, we all hate knowing that we even have to sit down and do that, but it's something that we all need to do, and that is sit down and communicate with one another, and say, hey, we need to talk. We really need to sit down and talk. And the sooner you talk to your child or children, the sooner you talk to them, the younger age, the better off they'll be. Because the news that I keep getting and the research that I've done on this, and just from conversations with other people, when I ask them, because when people ask me about a video, I'll say, I'll try to get other information, I'll try, you just sit there and you talk to people. And so as I've gone through talking about, wanting to do this video on drugs and talking to your children about drugs, or even a family member, or, a co-worker, because it can be brought in at any time. Drugs, Satan will try to bring drugs into wherever you're at. Even will try it with alcohol or other products, and even through church, he will try. And what happens as say you're a child, I'm going to start out on the part about the child. The child will be going to school, and their friendships grow with their friends. And so as they start to mature, and this is so young now, I haven't even heard of it being in elementary school. I mean, come on, people, elementary school, drugs. That's the only way that we can ever get control of this is by us communicating like this, sitting down and talking. And if you don't think that you can sit down and actually talk to your children, or maybe you say, well, I have talked to them time and time and time and time again, and they're not listening. Well then, go to your church groups, someone, your deacon in the church, the ladies in your church, even your pastor, they will sit down and talk to them about drugs. Even at school, the guidance counselor at school, they're trained in this, the principal's trained in it, the teachers are trained, and I know they have some sort of a training in case they're confronted with a student that is using drugs. And then there's also mental health workers that are available throughout, probably maybe somewhere in the state, that can also sit down. Your family doctor can communicate with your child and talk to your child about the drugs. And then also, there's like I say, there's I know the name, I can't think of it. But anyway, there's other organizations out there that can help you. There's psychologists, but anyone who can sit down and communicate and explain how drugs can just ruin your life, and they will. If you start to consume drugs or alcohol and you're thinking, well, I got control of this, no. The only control you have is when you're not doing it. You walk away from it, don't do it, you're in control. If you're doing it, and so I just do it every so often, I just do it, well, only when I'm hanging out with my buddies. You're not in control. Well, if we go to a party, you're not in control. Well, we was just out fishing. We're not in control. You was at the lake. We're not in control. When you're in control is when you're not doing drugs, and that's the final answer. When you're not doing it, you're not around it, you're in control. Plain and simple. Now, I do agree. If anyone's out there and somebody says, hey, can you be the designated driver? Please say yes. Please, if it's your turn, You see your friends, please say, yes, I will drive, but remember this, you cannot drink, smoke, or do any drugs whatsoever, because you can still be classified as under the influence, and it can get you a DUI. I don't know, but I think just driving under the influence, that's what that's called. So, I mean, that right there can ruin your life. I mean, right there. So don't think, well, I'll take one drink, one shot, one hit, one snort, pop that. I just took one or two. No. If you're going to need a designated driver, that's zero consumption. And then, like I say, and if you're not doing drugs, the only way you can be in control is by not doing them, walking away from it. And if your friends or someone you know that's in school, at work, even if at church, or at, like I say, maybe at school, if you know someone that's doing that, get them help. Find somebody. If they won't talk to you and be honest with you, and you know for sure that there's something going on, then you're going to have to take that step and help them. Because if they're having to, if there's something going on in their life, they say, well, my life is just screwed up. I can't handle this. I can't handle that. I can't handle this. I can't handle that. Can't handle what he says. Can't handle what she says. You know, and if they say, my world's just crashing in on me, I have to have this to relieve me, get me out. No. Now, that is what's bringing all that chaos to their life. That consumption of something in over moderation, because, like I say, there's some people who say, well, I may have a casual drink. Well, I'm telling you, the only way to be in control is by not doing it at all. And if your children are smoking cigarettes, you got to get them to quit, because, and nothing against the tobacco company. I don't have anything against tobacco, but I quit in 2008 smoking. I smoked all those years. 2008, that's not that far away. I mean, it hadn't been that many years ago. But I did quit. And I tell you what, I feel so much better since I quit. But you gotta sit down with your children. Sit down with a family member, brother or sister. Sit down with a parent. Whoever that you think is doing something that is illegal and it can bring more harm to their bodies and maybe harm to other people in the family, you're going to have to sit down and say, hey, listen, we've got to talk. You may not understand or see this, but this is what we're seeing and hearing from you. And what that will do, that'll get that person, they're going to rebel, they'll get mad a little bit, and then they'll probably try to leave. But you're going to have to sit down and talk to them sooner or later, because what you're going to do, you're going to end up saving their life. And someday, they may turn around and say thank you for doing what you did. Because if not, they're going to turn right around and throw their life away, just throw it away and dispose of it, and what a shame to waste a life. Sit down at a very early age, talk to your family, talk to your children, talk to your other family members, and say, this drugs that are going on, now there's even been reports or people have told me that you can buy drugs over the counter. They're synthetic drugs or man-made drugs or something that you can buy over the counter. You can smoke it or do something else with it. And these are, I don't think they're legal, but they're just having to make laws to make them not legal. Because I think they're supposed to be used for something else. But people have found out, hey, I can do this with it or do that with it. I'm going to tell you something. When you start messing with drugs, that is a time bomb. And that time bomb may go off one day and your heart could explode. And if it does, your life's over. Zip, you're out of here. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I think life is worth living. I really do. I think if you get on your hands and knees and you pray with your children and explain to them along the way that hey, drugs, you've got to stay away from it. Even if your friends say, well, it won't hurt just to do it one time. Nobody's going to know. I'm going to tell you something. That one time can ruin you. It can ruin your name, and then you'll have your reputation. And then if somebody wants to say, well, being so-and-so was doing it, You remember? Bring it up in a conversation. Ain't long, everybody knows you're doing it. All it's going to do is run you. It's going to run your name. It's going to run your family's name. Don't do it, because most of all, it's going to hurt your body. And yeah, maybe some of them say, hey, I've been doing that for several years. It ain't affected me. Well, it's like playing Russian roulette. You're taking that, throwing that gun, pulling that trigger, hoping and praying that this time it's not going to go off. Whatever you do, get help. Get help for your children. Get help for a family member. Get help for a co-worker. Get help if there's somebody in church. If they're suffering from either consumption of drugs, alcohol, whether they're smoking it, snorting it, popping it, whatever they're doing, there is help out there. There's plenty of help. And you'll watch these people, usually they'll when they're not doing it, if they're down, they'll be so depressed that they think they have to have it to maintain their life. Whatever you do, there's help out there. You got to help them get through that depression stage, and then get over that stage of not wanting that drug, whatever that drug may be. But you got to stand together. Stand strong. Take that stand, but help save a life today. Talk to everyone. Talk to your children, family members, co-workers, churchgoers, whatever. Talk to everybody about drugs. Make sure you keep an eye on everybody. Remember, we're here together, and a lifetime goes by so quickly. Don't throw your life away. Not on drugs and stuff. I don't want you to throw your life away at all. Who knows? You might have been the one who's going to become a brain surgeon. You may be our next president. I'm just saying that these are examples. You could be the next person who goes into outer space. That's what you could have been if you didn't do drugs. You see what I'm saying? There's so much out there. There's so much more to life. And like I say, bring prayer into your family. Bring the Lord into it. Get people in the church. Get everybody talking. And in that way, you've got a greater chance of surviving throughout life without having to take something else or doing drugs or drinking or whatever. Like I say, band together, stay together, stand tall, and work together and pray. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're going to call it a wrap. Thank you.